Hello again. In our last video, we learned how to find x-intercepts and y-intercepts, which was fun. Remember, x-intercepts can be found by setting y equal to 0. Y-intercepts can be found by setting x equal to 0. Now we're going to look at equations that can have more than one x-intercept. So let's begin with this example. Find the x-intercepts of y equals x squared minus 9. So to find the x-intercepts, again, we set y equal to 0. Just referencing this, to find the x-intercept, set y equal to 0. So y is equal to 0, x squared minus 9. And again, we add 9 to both sides. Those 9s cancel out. We're left with x squared over here, 9 over there. After adding 9 to both sides, we have to take the square root of both sides. So when taking the square root of 9 and in taking the square root of x squared, we're left with x equals plus or minus 3. Now, that means that there are two x-intercepts according to this equation. So those two x-intercepts would look as follows: -3, 0, and 3, 0. So both of those points are located on this graph, and they are both x-intercepts. So this is important because a graph can have more than one x-intercept. Now let's find the y-intercept of the same equation. We'll do this right here. Find the y-intercept of the same equation. Y equals x squared minus 9. So again, when we're finding the y-intercept, referencing this, we have to set x equal to 0. So y equals 0 squared minus 9. Y equals, this becomes 0, negative 9. So therefore, the y-intercept is 0, negative 9. So this graph crosses the x-axis at these two locations, -3, 0, and 3, 0, and crosses the y-axis at 0, negative 9. So these intercepts already give us useful information about the graph, and they help us identify where the graph meets the coordinate axes. Now, let's look at another example. Find the intercepts of y equals x squared plus 4. So first, we want to find the x-intercepts. So again, in finding the x-intercept, we set y equal to 0. Then we subtract 4 to both sides. In doing that, we have x squared here. We have negative 4 on that side. Now, there is no real number whose square equals negative 4. So, and again, when you square a number, you're essentially taking that number and multiplying it by itself. So there is no square number that could give us negative 4. Therefore, this graph has no real intercepts. Okay, so this graph has no real x-intercepts. Now, no real x-intercepts. Let's find out if this graph has any y-intercepts. So the equation is y equals x squared plus 4. And we're going to find y-intercepts, if any. So again, in order to find y-intercepts, we have to let x equal 0. So y equals 0 squared plus 4. Y equals, this becomes 0, equals 4. Therefore, the y-intercept is 0, 4. Now, the y-intercept being 0, 4 is very interesting. So you have to remember a graph may have no x-intercepts. It may have one x-intercept, or it may have more than one x-intercept. So no, one, or more x-intercepts. It all depends on the equation. Now, in the next video, we will begin our discussion of symmetry and learn how to determine whether a graph is symmetric about the x-axis, y-axis, or origin. Thank you for watching.